The meeting room was silent. 50 aliens from different worlds sat around a massive table made of crystal. They were the Galactic Council, the rulers of thousands of planets across the galaxy. Today they were talking about a new planet, a small blue world called Earth. Ambassador Thalvan stood up. He was tall and thin, with silver skin that reflected the light. He came from the Krethic Empire, one of the oldest and most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. He pressed a button, and a hologram appeared above the table. It showed Earth spinning slowly in space. "This is Earth," Thalvan said. His voice was smooth and confident. "We discovered it 3 years ago. The creatures living there call themselves humans. They are primitive. They have only basic space travel. No shields, no plasma weapons. They cannot even travel faster than light." The other council members looked at the hologram. Some of them laughed. One alien who looked like a giant insect clicked his mandibles. "Why are we even discussing them?" "They sound useless," Thalvan nodded. "I agree, but according to our laws, we must evaluate every new species. I recommend we classify them as Class 7, harmless, not worth our attention." He sat down, looking pleased with himself. The council voted. Every member agreed. Earth was harmless. The meeting ended, and the aliens went back to their important business. They forgot about the little blue planet almost immediately. What the council did not know was that humans had been watching them. Deep under the mountains of Korea, in a secret base called Site Omega, Director Hansol stood in front of a wall of screens. Each screen showed data from the alien survey drones that had scanned Earth 3 years ago. Hansol was 50 years old with gray hair and sharp eyes. He had spent his entire life preparing for this moment. When humans first detected alien signals from deep space 10 years ago, Hansol knew what it meant. They were not alone, and they were not safe. "They think we are harmless," Hansol said quietly. He turned to look at the team around him. These were Earth's best scientists, engineers, and military officers. They had all been working in secret for years. Engineer Bora stepped forward. She was young, only 35, but brilliant. "Director, we have intercepted their transmission to the Council. They classified us as Class 7, harmless and primitive." She smiled. "Perfect." Fleet Commander Daehan, a tall man with scars on his face from his years in the military, crossed his arms. "So they underestimated us. Good. That gives us an advantage. Have we finished analyzing their technology?" Bora nodded enthusiastically. "Yes, we have decoded their languages, studied their weapons, and analyzed their military tactics. They rely on energy shields and plasma weapons. They fight in tight formations. They think wars are won with the biggest guns and the strongest shields. And we think differently," Hansol said. "Show them." Bora pressed a button. A new hologram appeared, showing strange devices and weapons. "We have been developing weapons they have never imagined. Not because we are more advanced, but because we think differently. While they focus on energy and plasma, we focus on physics itself." She pointed to one device. "This is the resonance cannon. It does not destroy targets with explosions. Instead, it creates harmonic frequencies that tear matter apart from the inside. Their sensors will not even recognize it as a weapon." She pointed to another. "This is a relativistic kill vehicle. A simple metal rod accelerated to 70% the speed of light. When it hits something, it releases more energy than a nuclear bomb. No shields can stop it because it is just mass and velocity." Commander Daehan looked impressed. "And they have no defense against these weapons because they have never encountered them before." "Exactly," Hansol said. "We have spent 5 years studying them. We know how they fight. We know how they think, but they know nothing about us. They sent drones to scan Earth, but we let them see only what we wanted them to see. Old rockets, simple satellites, no defenses. They think we are helpless." A young officer named Hyejin spoke up. She was responsible for Earth's deep space monitoring network. "Director, we are detecting a ship approaching Earth. It is not a military vessel. It appears to be diplomatic," Hansol smiled. "So it begins. They are sending someone to make contact, probably to demand our surrender or to offer us a place in their empire." He turned to Commander Daehan. "Send Captain Min Young to greet them." Captain Min Young was the commander of the UES Defiant, Earth's first real combat spacecraft. It was small compared to alien ships, but it was fast and deadly. When the alien diplomatic vessel arrived at the edge of the solar system, Min Young was waiting for them. The alien ship was huge, 10 times larger than the Defiant. It was covered in gold metal that gleamed in the sunlight. A communication channel opened and Ambassador Thalven's face appeared on Min-Young's screen. "Greetings, humans," Thalven said. His voice was friendly, but his eyes were cold. "I am Ambassador Thalven of the Krethic Empire. I come on behalf of the Galactic Council. We have discovered your world and wish to welcome you to the galactic community." Min-Young smiled. She was a calm woman with short black hair and intelligent eyes. "Welcome to our solar system, Ambassador. I am Captain Min-Young of the United Earthship Defiant. We have been expecting you." Thalven looked surprised. "Expecting us? How could you possibly know we were coming?" Min-Young's smile did not change. "We have been monitoring your survey drones for 3 years, Ambassador. We know quite a lot about you and the Council." She paused, watching his face carefully. "In fact, I can speak your language if you prefer." She switched to perfect Krethic, using formal military terms. Thalven's silver skin turned a darker shade. He was shocked. "Impossible. Our drones used encrypted transmissions, and you should not be able to speak Krethic. It takes years of study." "We are fast learners," Min-Young replied, switching back to English. "Now, Ambassador, I assume you came here to deliver some kind of ultimatum. Please proceed." Thalven recovered his composure. "Very well. The Galactic Council requires all new species to submit to Council authority. You will provide us with resources, allow our ships to use your space, and accept Council law. In return, we will protect you from threats and share some of our technology." "And if we refuse?" Min-Young asked. Thalven's expression hardened. "Then you will be classified as a hostile species. The Council will respond appropriately." Min-Young nodded slowly. "I see. Well, Ambassador, we would like to respectfully decline your offer. Earth wishes to remain independent." "That is unwise," Thalven said. "You have no defenses, no shields, no weapons that could challenge Council forces. You will be conquered easily." "Perhaps," Min-Young said. "But before any unpleasantness, we would like to offer a demonstration. We have prepared a small show of our capabilities in the asteroid belt. Would you care to observe?" Thalven was curious despite himself. These humans were strange. They showed no fear. They spoke his language. They had been watching the Council for years. What could they possibly show him that would matter? "Very well," he said. "We will observe your demonstration, but I warn you, human, this changes nothing. The Council has decided your fate." Min-Young's smile widened slightly. "We shall see, Ambassador. Please follow these coordinates. The demonstration will begin in 1 hour." Back at Site Omega, Director Hansol watched the exchange on his screens. Engineer Bora stood beside him. "The trap is set," she said. Hansol nodded. "Phase 1 is complete. Now we show them what happens when you underestimate humanity." The asteroid belt looked peaceful. Rocks and ice floated silently through space just as they had for billions of years. Ambassador Thalven's diplomatic ship hung in space at a safe distance. Inside, Thalven watched the human vessels with growing confusion. 3 small human ships had positioned themselves around a large asteroid. The asteroid was massive, about 10 kilometers across, made of solid rock and metal. The human ships looked tiny next to it. Each ship was barely the size of a shuttle. "Is this their demonstration?" one of Thalven's officers asked. 3 tiny ships and a rock, what are they planning to show us?" Thalven did not answer. He was watching carefully. Something felt wrong. The humans had been too confident, too calm. They knew something he did not. Captain Min-Young's voice came through the communication channel. "Ambassador Thalven, thank you for joining us. We will now demonstrate one of our defensive weapons. Please observe carefully." The 3 human ships moved into position. They formed a triangle around the asteroid. Then they stopped moving. For 10 seconds, nothing happened. Thalven's officers began to laugh. Then the asteroid began to vibrate. At first, it was barely visible. Small pieces of rock started breaking off the surface. Then larger pieces. Within seconds, the entire asteroid was shaking violently. "What is happening?" Thalven demanded. His sensors showed nothing. No energy weapons, no plasma beams, no explosions. Just the asteroid destroying itself. In 15 seconds, the asteroid was gone. 10 billion tons of rock had turned into a cloud of dust. It had not exploded. It had simply fallen apart, as if the forces holding it together had vanished. The Krethic ship's sensors went wild. trying to understand what had happened. The computer could not classify the weapon. It registered as a natural phenomenon, not an attack. But there was nothing natural about what had just occurred. "How did you do that?" Thalven asked. His voice was no longer confident. It was uncertain. "We call it the resonance cannon," Captain Minyoung replied. She sounded almost casual. "It creates harmonic frequencies that disrupt molecular bonds. The target literally tears itself apart from the inside. Your shields cannot stop it because it is not an energy weapon. It is just sound waves at very specific frequencies." Thalven stared at his screens. His silver skin had turned pale. "That is impossible. Sound waves cannot travel through space. There is no medium for them to move through." "You are correct," Minyoung said. "Which is why we do not transmit them through space. We use 3 synchronized emitters to create standing waves directly inside the target. The target becomes its own medium. Clever, is it not?" Before Thalven could respond, Minyoung spoke again. "We have a second demonstration prepared. Please observe." Another asteroid appeared on the sensors. This one was smaller, only 5 kilometers across. One of the human ships turned toward it. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the ship fired something. It was not a missile. It was not a plasma beam. It was just a small metal rod, no bigger than a telephone pole. But it was moving incredibly fast. Thalven's sensors calculated the speed, 0.7 times the speed of light. Relativistic speed. When the rod hit the asteroid, reality seemed to break. The impact released energy equivalent to a small star exploding. The asteroid did not just break apart, it vaporized instantly. The shock wave expanded outward, so powerful that it rocked Thalven's ship even at a safe distance. Alarms blared throughout the Krethic vessel. The shields had absorbed the shock wave, but they had nearly failed. If they had been closer, the ship would have been destroyed. "What was that?" Thalven shouted. His composure was completely gone now. He looked terrified. "A relativistic kill vehicle," Minyoung explained. Her voice was still calm. "Just a metal rod accelerated to 70% light speed using a magnetic accelerator. When something that heavy hits something else at that speed, it converts mass directly into energy. The math is simple. The results are devastating. But the energy required to accelerate something to that speed," one of Thalven's officers stammered. "It would require enormous power." "It does," Minyoung agreed, "which is why we built accelerator rails throughout the solar system. They are hundreds of thousands of kilometers long, hidden in space where your survey drones never looked. We have been preparing for years, Ambassador. We knew you would come eventually." Thalven felt his 3 hearts beating rapidly. He had come to Earth expecting to meet primitives with crude rockets. Instead, he had found a species that had weaponized physics itself. They did not have fancy energy shields or plasma weapons. They did not need them. They had found different ways to kill. "You speak our language," Thalven said slowly. "You know our military terms. You have been studying us for years. You have been preparing for war." "We have been preparing to defend ourselves," Minyoung corrected. "There is a difference. We do not want war, Ambassador. We want to be left alone, but we will not allow ourselves to be conquered or controlled." Thalven took a deep breath. He needed to think. He needed to report this to the Council immediately. Earth was not Class 7. Earth was dangerous, very dangerous. "I will return to the Council," he said. "I will tell them what I have seen, but I warn you, human, you have made a terrible mistake. The Council does not tolerate defiance. They will send warships, many warships. And no matter how clever your weapons are, you cannot defeat the combined forces of 48 civilizations." Minyoung was quiet for a moment. When she spoke again, her voice was harder. "Ambassador, you are making an assumption. You assume that what you saw today is everything we have. You assume that we would show you our best weapons during a simple demonstration. You assume that we are not still hiding most of our capabilities." She paused, letting that sink in. "Go back to your council. Tell them what you saw. Tell them that Earth is not defenseless. Tell them that we have been watching and learning and preparing. And tell them that if they attack us, they will pay a price they cannot imagine." The communication ended. Thalven sat in his command chair staring at the cloud of dust that had once been an asteroid. His officers were silent, shocked by what they had witnessed. "Set course for the Council homeworld," Thalven ordered. "Maximum speed. They need to know about this immediately." As the Krethic ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, leaving the solar system behind, Captain Min Young watched it go. She opened a communication channel to Site Omega. "Director Han Sol, the ambassador is returning to the Council. He saw what we wanted him to see." Han Sol's face appeared on her screen. He looked satisfied. "Good work, Captain. How did he react?" "He was terrified," Min Young reported. "But he still believes the Council can defeat us with numbers. He warned that they will send warships. Let them come," Han Sol said quietly. "We have been preparing for exactly that scenario. Engineer Bora, what is the status of our orbital defenses?" Bora appeared on another screen. She looked excited. "All platforms are operational and hidden. The gravitational anomaly generators are ready, the Alcubierre mines are in position, and the cyber warfare packages are prepared. When they come, they will find that demonstrations and real battles are very different things." Commander Dehan joined the conversation. "Director, intelligence suggests the Council will debate for several weeks before making a decision. Some members will want to negotiate. Others will want immediate military action. And the militant ones will win the debate," Han Sol predicted. "They always do. They will see our demonstration as a challenge, not a warning. They will send a fleet to crush us and make an example of Earth. Then we will be ready," Dehan said. His scarred face looked grim. "The aliens think war is about honor and strength. We will teach them that war is about preparation and deception." Han Sol nodded. "Phase 2 begins now. Get everyone into position. When the aliens arrive, they will find that Earth is not just defended. Earth is a trap." The council chamber erupted in chaos. Ambassador Thalven had just finished his report about Earth, and the alien leaders could not believe what they were hearing. Some called him a liar. Others demanded proof. A few sat in worried silence. Warmaster Keth of the Rexian hegemony slammed his clawed hand on the table. He was a massive creature covered in dark red scales with eyes like burning coals. His species had conquered dozens of worlds through military might. "This is unacceptable," Keth roared. "A primitive species dares to refuse council authority? They demonstrate weapons against us? This insult cannot stand." Thalven raised his hand for calm. "Warmaster, I do not think you understand. The humans are not what we thought. Their weapons are unlike anything we have seen. They do not rely on energy or plasma. They weaponize fundamental physics. My sensors could barely detect their attacks. Then your sensors are defective," Keth shouted. "No species locked to one planet can threaten the combined might of the Council. I propose we send a peacekeeping force immediately. 50 warships should be more than enough to remind these humans of their place." Some council members agreed loudly. Others tried to argue for diplomacy. But Keth's voice was the loudest, and he had many allies among the military species. Within an hour, the decision was made. 50 Rexian warships would travel to Earth and force humanity to surrender. Thalven left the chamber feeling sick. He had tried to warn them. The humans were dangerous. They had been preparing for years, but no one had listened. Pride and arrogance had won, as they always did. 3 weeks later, Warmaster Keth's fleet arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system. 50 massive warships, each 3 kilometers long and bristling with weapons. They were the pride of the Rexian military, equipped with the strongest shields and most powerful plasma cannons in the galaxy. Keth stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Crimson Fang. He felt confident. Earth's demonstration had been impressive, but it meant nothing against 50 capital ships. The humans would see his fleet and surrender immediately. "Scan the system," Keth ordered. "Locate their defenses." His officers worked quickly, their sensors sweeping through space. After several minutes, the lead sensor officer looked confused. "Warmaster, we detect no military installations. No defense platforms. No warships. Just commercial satellites and communication arrays." Keth frowned. "They are hiding. Scan deeper. Use active sensors." The sensors probed more aggressively, sending powerful beams of energy throughout the system. Still nothing. The human homeworld looked completely undefended. "This is a trap," one of Keth's advisors warned. Ambassador Thalven said they were prepared. "Where are their weapons?" "They are afraid," Keth decided. "They hid their few weapons from the ambassador, but now they see our real fleet and they know they cannot win. Advance to Earth's moon. We will establish a base there and demand their surrender." The 50 warships moved forward in perfect formation. They crossed the orbit of Mars without incident. They passed through the asteroid belt carefully, remembering the demonstration. Still nothing happened. On the hidden lunar base called Tranquility, Commander Jiwoo watched the alien fleet approach. She was a short woman with sharp eyes and quick hands. She had spent 5 years preparing this base, digging deep into the moon's surface and installing weapons that no sensor could detect. "They are in position," one of her technicians reported. "All enemy ships are within the engagement zone." Jiwoo opened a communication channel to Site Omega. "Director Hansol, the aliens have taken the bait. All 50 ships are exactly where we predicted they would be." Hansol's face appeared on her screen. "Fleet Commander Dahan, are all platforms ready?" "Ready and waiting," Dahan confirmed. He was on a command ship hidden behind the moon. 300 weapon platforms are locked onto targets. The gravitational anomaly generators are charging. All personnel are in position." Hansol took a deep breath. This was the moment they had prepared for. Everything depended on the next few minutes. "Begin the attack. Show them what happens when they threaten Earth." Commander Jiwoo pressed a button. "All platforms engage. Fire at will." Throughout the solar system, 300 hidden weapon platforms activated simultaneously. They had been disguised as simple satellites for years, painted to look harmless, their heat signatures masked by clever engineering. The aliens had scanned them dozens of times and found nothing suspicious. Now those harmless satellites revealed their true purpose. Magnetic accelerators hummed with power. Targeting computers locked onto the Rexian warships. And then the platforms fired. Tungsten rods, each weighing several tons, accelerated to 90% the speed of light. They crossed the distance to the alien fleet in seconds. The Rexian shields, designed to stop plasma and energy weapons, were useless against solid mass moving at relativistic speeds. 7 warships died in the first 15 seconds. The tungsten rods punched through their hulls as if they were paper. The impacts released so much energy that the ships simply vaporized. On the Crimson Fang, alarms screamed. War Master Keth stared at his screens in disbelief as 7 ships vanished from his formation. What happened? Where did that attack come from? "Unknown, War Master," his officers shouted. Sensors detected projectiles, but they were moving too fast to track. "We cannot locate the launch points." "Return fire," Keth roared. "Destroy everything. All satellites, all structures, everything." The Rexian fleet opened fire with plasma cannons. Brilliant beams of energy lanced through space, destroying satellites and debris. But the human platforms were mobile. Using cold gas thrusters that produced almost no heat signature, they had already moved to new positions. The aliens were shooting at empty space while the real weapons fired from different locations. 5 more warships exploded, then 6 more. The Rexian formation began to break apart as ships tried to evade the invisible attackers. Specialist He Jin, "Activate the gravity generators," Commander Dahan ordered. Hyojin was stationed on an asteroid in the belt. She smiled as she pressed the activation sequence. Hidden throughout the asteroid field were devices that could create localized gravitational anomalies. They used exotic matter and quantum effects to bend space-time itself. The Rexian fleet, trying to maintain formation, suddenly experienced gravitational chaos. Ships that had been carefully positioned began drifting into each other. Navigation computers went haywire as gravity wells appeared and disappeared randomly. 2 massive warships collided at high speed. Their shields protected them from immediate destruction, but the impact sent both ships spinning out of control. 3 more ships collided in a chain reaction. The perfect military formation became a floating disaster. War Master Keth watched his fleet die. In less than 20 minutes, he had lost 38 ships. His officers were shouting contradictory orders. His sensors showed enemies everywhere and nowhere. Nothing made sense. "Retreat," Keth finally ordered. His pride was shattered, but his survival instinct was strong. "All ships retreat to the edge of the system. Maximum speed." The 12 surviving Rexian warships turned and fled. The human weapons stopped firing, allowing them to escape. Commander Jiwoo watched them go with satisfaction. Director Hansel, the enemy is retreating. 38 ships destroyed, 12 survivors, no human casualties. Hansel allowed himself a small smile. Broadcast the message. A signal went out to every world in the galaxy. Hansel's face appeared on countless screens. His voice was calm and clear. This is Director Hansel of Earth. Your fleet attacked us unprovoked. We have defended ourselves. We have no interest in conquest or expansion. We only want to be left alone. But understand this. If you attack us again, we will not be so merciful. The next time, we will bring the fight to you. Leave Earth in peace or face the consequences. The message ended. Throughout the galaxy, the Council species watched the recordings of the battle. They saw 50 warships reduced to 12 in less than 20 minutes. They saw weapons that appeared from nowhere and struck with devastating precision. And for the first time in galactic history, they were afraid of a single planet. The humiliation of War Master Keth spread across the galaxy like a virus. 50 warships reduced to 12 in minutes. The mighty Rexian hegemony, feared conquerors of 100 worlds defeated by a single planet that could not even travel faster than light. Keth could not accept the defeat. His pride demanded revenge. Within days of returning home, he began contacting other militant species. If the Rexians alone could not defeat Earth, then he would build a coalition. Together they would crush humanity and restore his honor. 3 powerful civilizations agreed to join him. The Vryn swarms, insectoid creatures who fought with overwhelming numbers. The Nethera collective, crystalline beings whose ships could link together to form massive battle networks. And the Tauron Unity, cybernetic warriors who never retreated from battle. Together, they assembled 2,000 warships. It was the largest military fleet in recorded galactic history. No force had ever stood against such power. Earth would be overwhelmed by sheer numbers. Ambassador Thalven tried one last time to stop the madness. He stood before the council and begged them to negotiate instead of attacking. But his voice was drowned out by calls for war. The council members who wanted peace were outvoted. The coalition would launch in 2 weeks. On Earth, Specialist Hyejin detected the fleet gathering long before it departed. Her deep space monitoring network had sensors throughout the galaxy, hidden in asteroid fields and nebulae. She watched as 2,000 ships assembled at the edge of Rexian space. She reported to Director Hansel immediately. They are coming. 2,000 ships from 4 different species. They will arrive in 3 weeks. Hansel gathered his command team in Site Omega. Fleet Commander Daihan, Engineer Bora, Commander Ji Woo, Tactical Officer Youngsu, and Specialist Hyejin. These 5 people would coordinate Earth's defense against an armada. 2,000 ships, Daihan said quietly. That is 40 times more than last time. Even with all our weapons, we cannot destroy that many vessels. We do not need to destroy them all, Hansel replied. We need to break their will to fight. Fear is more powerful than weapons. Bora pulled up a hologram showing strange devices scattered throughout the solar system. Director, the Alcubierre mines are ready. We have been deploying them for 3 months ever since the first battle. They are the perfect weapon for this situation. Youngsu looked curious. I have heard about these mines, but I do not understand how they work. Can you explain? Bora smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. The aliens travel faster than light by creating stable bubbles of warped space-time around their ships. We cannot create stable bubbles yet, but we can create unstable ones. Very unstable. She manipulated the hologram, showing how the mines worked. When an enemy ship passes near an Alcubierre mine, the mine activates. It creates an unstable space-time bubble that immediately collapses. The ship gets caught in the collapse and is pushed into a parallel quantum dimension. From our perspective, the ship simply vanishes. It does not explode. It does not leave wreckage. It just stops existing in our reality. The room was silent. Even Daihan, who had seen many weapons in his career, looked disturbed. That is terrifying. The crew does not die. They just cease to exist in our universe. Exactly, Bora said. And the best part? The mines are completely invisible. They produce no energy signature. No heat, no radiation. They are just floating in space, waiting. We have deployed 10,000 of them throughout the solar system. Hansel studied the hologram. 10,000 mines against 2,000 ships. That is 5 mines per ship on average. More than enough. 3 weeks later, the coalition fleet arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system. War Master Keth commanded from his new flagship. He had learned from his previous defeat. This time the fleet was spread out over millions of kilometers. No tight formations that could be destroyed in one strike. The Vryn swarm ships took the lead, small and numerous like insects. Behind them came the massive Nathara crystal ships, their hulls reflecting starlight like diamonds. The Tauron Unity ships moved in perfect synchronization, their cybernetic minds linked together. And scattered among them all were the remaining Rexian warships, weapons charged and ready. "Begin the bombardment," Keth ordered. "Stay in formation. Do not cluster together. Fire at Earth from maximum range. We will destroy their planet from a distance where they cannot strike back." The fleet advanced slowly and carefully. They had studied the previous battle. They knew about the relativistic kill vehicles and the gravitational anomalies. Their formation was designed to counter those tactics. Plasma torpedoes and antimatter missiles launched from the alien ships. Thousands of weapons streaking toward Earth. From a distance, it looked like a wall of fire moving through space. On the lunar base, Commander Jiwoo watched the attack approach. "Director, they are firing from extreme range. The bombardment will reach Earth in 6 hours. Let them fire," Hansol said calmly. "Activate the Alcubierre mines." Pattern 7. Throughout the solar system, thousands of invisible mines activated. They had been positioned along the routes the aliens would most likely use. Engineers had spent months calculating probable approach vectors, factoring in gravity wells and navigation hazards. The first ship vanished without warning. One moment, a Vryn swarm vessel was advancing toward Earth. The next moment, it was simply gone. No explosion, no debris. Just empty space where the ship had been. Before the aliens could react, 5 more ships disappeared. Then 10, then 20. The vanishings accelerated as more and more vessels encountered the mines. Ship after ship simply ceased to exist. Panic spread through the coalition fleet. The Vryn swarm, who fought through numbers and fearlessness, had never encountered an enemy they could not see or fight. Their ships began breaking formation, trying to flee the invisible threat. The Nathara collective ships attempted to link together, forming defensive networks. But the mines did not care about networks or shields. Crystal ships vanished in groups, taking their linked partners with them. The Tauron Unity ships, controlled by cybernetic minds, tried to calculate the pattern of disappearances. But there was no pattern. The mines were distributed randomly. Mathematics could not save them. War Master Keth watched in horror as his fleet dissolved. In the first hour, 200 ships vanished. By the second hour, 400 were gone. By the 6th hour, a third of his entire armada had simply ceased to exist. "Retreat," Keth ordered. His voice was no longer proud. It was desperate, terrified. "All ships retreat immediately. Leave the system." But the retreat was as deadly as the advance. Ships trying to flee encountered more mines. The faster they moved, the more mines they triggered. The coalition fleet, once 2,000 strong, became a terrified mob running from an invisible enemy. By the end of the day, nearly 800 ships had vanished. The survivors finally escaped the solar system. Traumatized and broken, they had not fired a single effective shot at Earth. They had been defeated by an enemy they never saw. Director Hansol stood in Site Omega, watching the tactical displays. The alien fleet was retreating. Earth had not lost a single weapon platform, not a single human life. "Send the message," he told Young-Soo. Young-Soo nodded and activated the broadcast. Hansol's face appeared on screens throughout the galaxy. His message was simple and terrifying. "This is Director Hansol of Earth. You have now attacked us twice. Twice we have defended ourselves. Twice we have allowed survivors to flee and carry our message. We do not want war. We do not want your territory or your resources. We only want to be left alone." He paused, letting his words sink in across 1,000 worlds. "But understand this. We have shown you only our defensive weapons. The Alcubierre mines you encountered today. We have the technology to deploy them anywhere, on any planet, around any star. We could make your homeworlds vanish the same way your ships vanished." His voice became harder. "This is your final warning. The next civilization that threatens Earth will not see us defend. They will see us attack. We will bring these weapons to your homes, to your colonies, to every world you value, and then you will understand what it means to face an enemy who turns physics itself into a weapon." The message ended. The galaxy fell silent. For the first time in recorded history, no one wanted to challenge Earth. Fear had accomplished what demonstrations and battles could not. Humanity had become the species that everyone feared to provoke. The Galactic Council met in emergency session. The chamber, once a symbol of unity and power, now felt like a room full of frightened children. The council members argued in loud voices, pointing claws and tentacles at each other. Everyone wanted to blame someone else for the disaster. War Master Keth sat in his seat, silent and broken. He had lost over 1,000 ships in the second battle. His military career was finished. His honor was destroyed. But worse than that, he had awakened something the galaxy was not prepared to face. The council split into 3 groups. The militarists still wanted to fight, though their voices were quieter now. They argued that the entire galaxy should unite against Earth. Thousands of ships from all 48 civilizations. Surely that would be enough. The pacifists, led by Ambassador Thalven, demanded immediate negotiations. They pointed out that Earth had never attacked first. Humanity had only defended itself. Perhaps they could be reasoned with, but a third group, led by the Nexian Empire, had a different idea. They wanted to study Earth's weapons and learn how to recreate them. If one species could weaponize physics, why could not others do the same? While the council debated endlessly, the Nexian intelligence director Mix took action. He was a cautious being, covered in scales that changed color with his mood. He had served as a spy master for 40 years and had never failed a mission. He decided to send a stealth reconnaissance team to Earth's solar system. 6 Nexian ships equipped with the most advanced cloaking technology in the galaxy departed in secret. Their mission was simple: observe Earth's defenses without being detected. Study the weapon platforms. Analyze the mines. Learn everything possible. The ships approached the solar system slowly and carefully. Their cloaking systems bent light around them, making them invisible to conventional sensors. Director Mix was confident. No one had ever detected a Nexian stealth ship. On Earth, Specialist Hyejin sat in her monitoring station and smiled. Her sensors had detected the Nexian ships the moment they entered the outer solar system. Director Hansel, we have visitors. 6 stealth ships, Nexian design. They are trying to spy on us. Hansel was not surprised. We predicted someone would try this. How far have they penetrated? They just passed Jupiter. They are heading toward our lunar base. Hyejin pulled up detailed scans. Their cloaking technology is impressive. It bends light perfectly, but it does not hide gravitational distortions. Our sensors detect the mass of their ships. Hansel thought for a moment. Let them reach Saturn, then activate Youngsu's surprise. We will teach them that stealth means nothing when your enemy knows you are coming. Tactical Officer Youngsu had spent 2 years developing a special weapon for exactly this scenario. While Engineer Bora focused on physical destruction, Youngsu specialized in cyber warfare. He had created a quantum virus that could infiltrate any computer system in the galaxy. When the Nexian ships reached Saturn's orbit, Youngsu activated his program. The virus transmitted through quantum entanglement, bypassing all conventional security. It entered the Nexian computer systems faster than light, invisible and unstoppable. On the lead Nexian ship, alarms began screaming. The captain watched in horror as his screens filled with error messages. Navigation failed. Weapon systems shut down. Communication arrays stopped responding. Within seconds, the ship was completely dead in space. The same thing happened to all 6 ships simultaneously. They could not jump to faster than light speed. They could not fire weapons. They could not even send a distress signal. They just floated helplessly near Saturn. Their advanced technology turned into useless metal. Director Hansol opened a communication channel directly to the Nexian Empire's capital world. He bypassed all security, appearing on screens throughout their government buildings. His face was calm, but his words were sharp. Director Mix, your stealth ships are currently disabled near Saturn. Your crews are unharmed. This is a courtesy, not a weakness. In 72 hours, we will release your ships and they can return home. He paused, making sure his next words were heard clearly. During those 72 hours, the virus in your systems will transmit continuously to your homeworld. It will demonstrate exactly how vulnerable your entire fleet is. Every ship, every station, every computer system in your empire can be shut down with a single command from Earth. Hansol smiled without warmth. We are including the complete schematics of the virus in this transmission. Study it, learn from it. Understand that we do not need to destroy you. We can simply turn off your technology and watch you drift helplessly in space. Tell the Council this. Earth does not want your territory. We do not want your resources. We only want to be left alone. But if you force us to act, we have weapons you cannot imagine." The message ended. Throughout the Nexian Empire, scientists studied the virus in shock. It was brilliant and terrifying. It used principles they had never considered. And if Earth could create this, what else could they create? Ambassador Thalven seized the moment. He called for an immediate vote in the Council. No more military action. No more attempts to spy or intimidate. It was time to negotiate. This time, enough Council members agreed. The vote passed. Thalven traveled to Earth once more, but this time without arrogance or demands. He came as a genuine diplomat, ready to negotiate as equals. Director Han Sol agreed to meet him, not on Earth but on Mars. Neutral ground. A team of human architects led by Seung Ho had built a diplomatic facility in 3 months. It was designed to accommodate both human and alien biology. The building was modest but sophisticated, a sign that Earth understood diplomacy as well as warfare. The negotiations took 3 weeks. Thalven and Han Sol met daily, discussing terms carefully. Sometimes Fleet Commander Daehan joined them, representing Earth's military interests. Sometimes other council representatives participated via hologram. Slowly, they crafted an agreement. Earth would be recognized as a sovereign power with full control of the solar system. A demilitarized zone extending 10 light-years from the sun would be established. No alien military vessels could enter without permission. In exchange, humanity agreed to 3 conditions. First, they would not expand beyond the 10 light-year boundary for 50 years. This gave the galaxy time to adjust to Earth's presence. Second, they would share some defensive technology with the Council, specifically systems to protect against threats from outside the known galaxy. Third, they would allow a single observation station in the outer solar system, unarmed and transparent. The treaty was signed in a ceremony broadcast across the galaxy. Director Han Sol represented Earth. Ambassador Thalven represented the Galactic Council. They shook hands in the human custom, sealing an agreement that changed galactic history. As Thalven prepared to depart Mars, he asked the question that had bothered him since his first visit. "Director Han Sol, how did you prepare so thoroughly? We had never contacted Earth before. How did you know we would come?" Han Sol looked at the alien ambassador thoughtfully. "We studied your history, Ambassador. Every species you contacted was either absorbed into the Council or destroyed. There were no exceptions. We learned from their mistakes. We saw what happened to civilizations that were unprepared, that trusted in your good intentions, that believed they could negotiate from weakness." He gestured at the stars visible through the facility's windows. "Humanity's greatest strength is not our weapons. It is our ability to learn. We learn from others. We learn from history, and we learn from our own mistakes before we make them. We prepared because we knew that in this galaxy, the unprepared do not survive." Thalven nodded slowly. "Then perhaps there is hope for the galaxy. If others learn from you the way you learned from them." 5 years passed. The galaxy adapted to the new reality. Earth remained inside its 10 light-year boundary, but its influence spread far beyond. Human defensive technology protected dozens of worlds from external threats. Captain Min Young, now promoted to admiral, commanded a small but powerful fleet that occasionally assisted Council forces against pirates and raiders. But Earth never stopped preparing. Fleet Commander Daehan, now Supreme Commander, continued expanding the defense network. Engineer Bora developed new weapons in Site Omega, always thinking about the next threat. Specialist Hae Jin monitored the entire sector, ensuring humanity always knew what was happening in the galaxy. Director Han Sol, older now and thinking about retirement, stood in the observation deck of the Mars facility. He watched alien ships pass peacefully through the outer system, traveling to the observation station that had become a symbol of cooperation. His communicator chimed. Admiral Min Young's voice came through. "Director, the Council has requested a meeting. They want to discuss the possibility of human expansion beyond treaty boundaries. They are eager to have us as formal allies," Han Sol smiled. "Tell them we will consider it. In 50 years. We have a treaty after all." He paused. "But also tell them we appreciate the offer. Building trust takes time." He disconnected and returned to watching the stars. The galaxy had thought Earth was harmless. They had been catastrophically wrong. Entire planets had paid the price for that mistake. losing thousands of ships and countless lives. But now the galaxy knew better. Now they understood that humanity's greatest weapon was not any single device or technology,